Hello there everyone, welcome to another video on the channel, welcome to another Gran Turismo 7 opinion piece where we're going to talk about dirty air and custom slipstream, and in particular why dirty air is very annoying in the game, but why, in my opinion, I don't think custom slipstream is the answer. It's a relevant subject because this week's daily race is at Interlagos in the Group 1 machinery. In particular, it is the Porsche 919 Hybrid that is the car of choice, so it's a very high downforce car. And whenever you get a high downforce car like the Group 1 cars, the Group 2 cars, or the Super Formula X 2019, then dirty air can become a bit of a problem. Now, what is dirty air? We might as well just briefly cover that before we move on with the video. So dirty air is when you are following a car in front of you. The car in front is generating a lot of dirty air off its rear wing, so it's pushing through the air coming off the rear wing hits your car, it's not clean. It's been disturbed by the aerodynamics of the car in front, and that means that your aerodynamics do not work as effectively as they should do, and it generally gives you a feeling of understeer in the corners. Now, most people's solution to that problem is custom slipstream. Normally we run real slipstream, but a lot of people want to use custom slipstream in these situations because it entirely removes the effect of dirty air. But on the flip side, it gives you an insane boost when you are behind the other car in front of you, not just on the straights in my opinion. I think it gives you a boost in the corners as well. It's just like there's more grip behind another car because the air resistance appears to have been moved completely to the point it's almost like you are driving in a vacuum. Now, I'm not sure that makes complete sense because I believe in a vacuum aerodynamics wouldn't actually matter, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. The boost you get when you're behind another car when custom slipstream is on is so incredibly strong that it almost makes the car in front completely defenseless when it comes to overtaking, because you know you can be 5 tenths behind the car in front, but the boost from the slipstream when it's custom is so strong that often case you can overtake the car halfway down that straight and the car in front becomes completely defenseless. On top of that, it just creates so many wacky racing situations. You can be 3 and 4 wide into a corner and you're probably thinking, yeah, that's great fun, Womble, you know, that's what you want to watch, but it's artificial fun. It's been created artificially in my opinion. So yeah, I'm just not a fan. I've been a long time critic of custom slipstream on the occasions when it's used, right up to the point where it was last used at the road car race at Watkins Glen. I got so peeved off with it that I made a vow that I would never race again on Gran Turismo 7 in a race where custom slipstream is being used. So dirty air is very annoying. I don't enjoy driving in it just as much as most people. I don't like understeer as much as anybody. But I don't think fixing a problem, i.e. this case dirty air, by giving us another problem, i.e. custom slipstream, and the wackiness and the craziness and the silliness that it brings is the solution. So let's talk more about these things as this video goes on, but let's talk about the race in hand that we've got on the screen here, and I'll put a case forward to you as to why dirty air and not custom slipstream can actually not be a terrible thing. So if you've been watching this race closely, you would have seen a couple of laps ago we moved up into what is now second place, but it was third place at the time, as the Portuguese driver behind us made a mistake into turn 4 a couple of laps ago that we are now approaching, and that put us, you know, just ahead of that driver, who is maybe about couple of tenths of a second a lap quicker than what we are. Now, the biggest complaint you'll hear about dirty air is that you can't follow the car in front. It's not strictly true. You can follow the car in front. You can see that the Portuguese driver behind me, since he went behind, has been able to kind of stay in that kind of gap of around about 4 to 6 tenths of a second. What it does make it quite difficult to do is to attack the driver in front, especially if that driver is doing their job at the time, basically keeping their laps nice and clean, hitting their apexes, concentrating on their exits. It makes it very difficult for you to get within that distance to try and strike for an overtake. But what's just happened here is I've made a very slight mistake coming out of the last corner. Nothing major, but we didn't quite hit the apex, we didn't get a particularly good exit, and the Portuguese driver has now got a sniff of an opportunity to go for an overtake. As we come down towards turn 1, I'm looking here, I don't defend it because I think maybe they're not going to go for it, and then as we go into turn 1, I see them on the inside, they go for the move, they hit the apex, we have to kind of turn out of the going for the apex there, and they make an absolutely fantastic overtake on us. They sniffed that opportunity, they stuck with us for a few laps there in that dirty air, just trying to force the slight mistake, and eventually they were rewarded as we missed the apex into the last corner. It gave them just enough slipstream down the straight to then make that overtake into turn 1, and that's exactly, if you ask me, what racing should be like. Now, if we had custom slipstream on, this driver would already have been past me on the straight, but as it was, look at this overtake, superb, absolutely judged to perfection as they get the car into the apex there and make that move. As I said, their patience rewarded their perseverance of just keeping the pressure on my car, on my driving, and they eventually got that slight little mistake that was required. And you know, racing's about moments. I think we live in a kind of generation now of racing where with DRS and Formula 1, people just expect action every corner of every lap, and I just don't think racing really should be like that. Like, a long race should be more like a game of football in a lot of ways. You know, you're kind of watching the race, as long as there's still an interest that something can happen in the race, you know, that should be enough to keep you excited. And then when these kind of moments happen in a race, that's why you sit down and you watch it, you know, for a kind of fantastic overtake towards the end where a podium position changes around. I think if you just have silly overtaking going on all the time, and I do believe this a little bit with Formula 1 at the moment with DRS, I really enjoyed the race around Silverstone, but was there an actual good hard worked overtake in there? I can't really remember one. It was just all a case of DRS down the hangar straight into Stowe Corner, wasn't it? Obviously the wet weather throws up a little bit of a mix, but yeah, I believe that kind of what people expect from racing now has changed. They just want that kind of constant action, that constant side by side, that constant battling, and I just, you know, for me, it's kind of, it's taking the specialness of when something does happen in a race away a little bit. We're looking at some examples here from the race in at Trial Mountain. Look at this as we came out the last corner here. Look at the boost this car behind us gets. This is with custom slipstream on, folks, and you know, they overtake my car down the straight there as though I'm standing still. It's not even a particularly long straight, but that is the power of the custom slipstream, folks. It's just, you know, if we had custom slipstream on in that race there in Group 1, I would have got past the Portuguese driver as they made the mistake, and then they would probably have passed me on the next straight because I'd have been defenceless. They would have got such a boost through the corners, down through the rest of the lap, and then especially down that main straight, and you just wouldn't have had that fantastic overtake. That race that I had there, that kind of moment where that driver made that overtake, because I thought it was a superb overtake. I didn't think they were going to go for it, but they did. We've seen them at the very last second, and we backed out of the defence. That's what makes racing worth it for me sometimes. That's what makes watching a real life race worth it, when a driver grafts for 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 laps sometimes to try and get that one move done. That's kind of what I enjoy about watching and racing, whereas custom slipstream would just remove those kind of moments, and it creates often chaos like we're watching on the screen here. This being the moment where I had a little bit of a hissy fit and then made my vow never to race with custom slipstream once again. If you want to see what my live reaction was to that instant there, then do check out the channel. There's a short on it as well, but just be aware it's not for the faint-hearted, and don't have any kids about. But yeah, getting back to the subject on hand, dirty air, it is definitely a problem in the game. We need to find a solution for it. I just don't think custom slipstream is the solution. Now, we do have a new physics package coming in a couple of weeks' time, of course. The slipstream does tend to be, air resistance will be part of the physics package, I would guess. Is there a chance that maybe be a fix for dirty air in there without having an insane slipstream boost? You know, will there be an alternative solution to the dirty air whilst maintaining a semi-realistic slipstream? Because the slipstream even on real is pretty strong on Gran Turismo as it is. I've put this clip in here. This is from the World Tour event. So Giuseppe's just done an insane stint on the soft tyres. Came into the pits to put the hard tyres on, and he's managed to jump ahead of Miyazono, and then Miyazono with the aid of custom slipstream, which was on for this World Tour race, completely makes that stint irrelevant, as he makes an easy pass down the straight with the aid of, you know, slipstream that's just too strong when it's custom, and he gets back in front and then disappears off into the distance. Now, there was a case there where Jose Serrano Giuseppe had just come out the pits, so he hadn't got his tyres up to temperature at that point. But yeah, I felt really bad when I watched that. You know, he'd done an absolutely incredible stint on the soft tyres to get in front of Miyazono, and then just seen all that hard work just get thrown away with the aid of custom slipstream, because Miyazono was able to just blast past him like he had DRS or nitrous or something. That's not really racing for me, folks. You know, racing should be, you know, between, you know, the car in front shouldn't be disadvantaged to the extent that custom slipstream does. And then on the flip side, the argument will be, well, you shouldn't be disadvantaged the same by dirty air. But, you know, at least if you've got real slipstream, and I don't, you know, I want dirty air reduced as well, but at least you can try and follow the car in front. As I said, you can follow it. It's attacking that dirty air prevents. You can follow the car in front. You have to adjust your driving a little bit, and I think that's what a lot of people don't like having to do, or not willing to do. When you're driving behind another car in the dirty air in one of these high downforce cars, as long as if you adjust your driving to maybe kind of just keep it in mind, you've got to bear in mind, you know, I'm not going to have as much grip in the corners here. Maybe I'll try a different line. I'll try squaring the corner off a little bit to get a better exit. It can mitigate the effects of the dirty air to a small extent, not completely, but it does help you to then be able to follow the car in front, and then you can try and force that mistake and then maybe get some worthwhile moments of racing, a bit like the overtake that the Portuguese driver made on me. But yeah, I've spoke a lot here, folks. I've said a lot. My opinion is clear. I don't like dirty air. I don't think custom slipstream's a problem. Hopefully with the update coming 1.49, PD will have a better solution to the dirty air than custom slipstream. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you've got to think. Usually this is quite a divisive subject. There will be a lot of people who will be a fan of the custom slipstream and the wacky racing that it brings side by side. Let's defend every single lap. Let's kind of fight for 20 minutes. For me, that's not really racing. That's just stupidness. It just doesn't really make any sense. It's not fun for me. But as ever, this is an opinion piece. It's my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinions as well. Appreciate you watching, folks. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.